Hi there, this is Mrs McTaggart and this is video 1 of 2 based on foreign exchange. These are very simple introductory lessons to dealing with foreign currency that basically is used throughout different levels of maths, third level, second level, even up to National 5. You will see some form of foreign currency questions. So today we're looking at turning pounds into any kind of foreign money. Now I always like to just start with the euro because as us Brits, that's probably the most likely currency we will use on maybe our more common holidays, us that don't venture too far away. So at the date of when I made these slides, in February, the pound was worth 1.21 euros. Now the day I'm actually making this video, I sadly looked at it and it's dropped a wee bit again. It's now worth 1.19 euros, but I didn't want to change everything because all my examples and my examples at the end and answers were using 1.21. So currency fluctuates all the time. If you're using a textbook, you're stuck with probably really out of date currencies. But when I teach it in class, I try and make it really, really current. Pound to euro, yeah, it's pretty much like for like almost, isn't it? If you're buying €5, you say, oh, well, that's roughly £5, but it's really not. It's actually more like £6. So you do get slightly more. So that's a good thing to remember, that when you go on holiday, your money, whatever you're changing number-wise, you always get something that's a bigger number. Now, to make something a bigger number in maths, we do by multiplying, and that helps you remember what I'm going to show you in the next slide. Changing our money into any kind of foreign, I use the euro symbol to symbolise any kind of foreign money here, we times by the exchange rate. So you take your money, you times it by the exchange rate. It's that simple. Now, where the difficulty comes in is you need to be prepared to be able to do some of these without a calculator at times. So the way I'm going to do my examples is I'll do one with a calculator and one without. You need to also be good at rounding at some point, probably more so in video 2 than today. So let's have a look. So I am going to, for example 1, we're going to change £350 into euros. So say you're going on holiday, you want to work out what £350 is. We used to always say, oh, you need to be able to convert, blah, blah, blah. You won't have calculators. You all have calculators in your pockets now anyway. But it's worth when you're trying to haggle and get to see if something's good value to actually do this calculation. So we're going to take our money, we're going to take £350 and we're going to times it by the exchange rate. It is as simple as that. So you do 350 times 1.21. This is a calculator question. So it's just a case of typing it in, which is what I'm doing right now. And it gives me 423.5. Now, a couple of things to remember. All money should be to 2 decimal places. Doesn't matter what currency you're in. So you need to add a 0 here or you will get marked down. And then it's really nice to put the symbol on. So euro symbol is just like a C with 2 lines or like a bit of an E with an extra line. If you're really not sure about the symbols, you can actually write in words at the end. That counts as well. You could just write euros. So £350 is worth 423.5 euros. Okay, so slightly more than you were getting. Let's have a look at example 2. So example 2 is without a calculator. This time we've got £600 to euros. So the sum is 600 times 1.21. Now how do we do this without a calculator? Well, that's just the same as 100 times 6 times 1.21. And you can do that in any old order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to times 1.21 by 100 first, which means moving that decimal point to the end 2 places. So the new sum is really 121 times 6. And I'm doing this wonderful old-fashioned thing called a sum. There's no need to do this in your head. So 6 times 1 is 6. 6 2s are 12. And 6 1s are 6 plus 7. So this is worth 726 euros. And I'm doing this because we quite often put these in non-calculator tests for our classes. And it's doable as long as I choose the right numbers. I would never ask you to turn like £624, but I would ask you to do a multiple of 10 quite easily without a calculator. So not all questions use euros, right? Not all countries use euros. You'll know yourself if from different countries. Dollars are very common in America and also Australia. You've got Indian rupees. I'm going to take you to America for this one. So at the time of me making the slides, a pound was worth $1.26. Again, quite a similar number. At one point, I remember the dollar being double the pound, and it was really, really easy to do sums at that point. But £1 is worth $1.26 roughly just now. So we're allowed a calculator this one. So we're literally just going to do 250 times 1.26 on our calculator, which gives us exactly $315. That was a bit of a boring one. So $315. Let's have a look at this example. So next one, we're going to Mexico. So Mexican pesos, this is going to be a massive number. We're taking £3,000 on a family holiday to Mexico, where a pound is worth a whopping 21.75 Mexican peso. So I have to do 3,000 times 21.75. So this is just very like doing 1,000 times 3 times 21.75. So I'm going to times by the 1,000 first. I'm going to move that dot 1, 2, 3 places, which means I need to be a 0 goes in here. So the sum I'm going to do is 21750 times 3. 3 zeros are 0, 3 fives are 15, 3 sevens 21, add 1 is 22, 3 ones are 3, add 2 is 5, and 3 twos is 6. We have a whopping 65250 Mexican peso. I don't know the symbol for Mexican peso, so I've just looked it up, and it looks a bit like a dollar sign, but what they actually do on this one is they write MX and then like a dollar sign, or they write Mex dollars like MEX and a dollar sign. But do you know what? If you're really stuck, you just write Mexican pesos in words. So there's my examples. There's really not much to this lesson. It's just remembering times by the exchange rate and trying to remind you that it can be non-calculator. So actually this slide is the worksheet I put up to my class. I've got all the different foreign currencies up in the yellow table up there. Loads of different questions. And then some wee problem ones at the end. If you want to try them, you can. If not, do you know what? It's fine. There's the answers there anyway, so you can pause, rewind, etc. I hope this has helped. Thanks for watching.